Holy cow, are we back?
Yeah, we yelling at the screen every Sunday night. Talk slick, throw the remote, we just want it right. Front office tripping, man, they can't get it right. Whole city heated, but we still gon' fight. We talking bulls trade, biz drafts, missed calls, club slumps, soccer bill, we seen it all. Yeah, we loud, yeah, we gritty. I'm a little frustrated, but I still love my city. Yeah, north side, south side, west, we united.
Welcome back to Holy Cow, the Chicago Cubs podcast here at the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan Channel. To recap this Rays series, talk Saya, and who's hot and who's messing up the church's money. The Cubs won this series and now they're back at 500 with a record of 6-6. But this series started off in the worst way possible. Before the game, the news dropped about Cade Horton and that he was going to be done for the season with elbow surgery. And then the Cubs went out there and lost the season opener 6-4, bringing their record to 4-6 on the season. The worst start to the season since 2021. That is odd to say. And it was the first time they lost back-to-back games this whole season. The offense could not capitalize on enough opportunities. Well, I guess you could say that about every loss, but in any case, the Cubs got on the board first off a Nico RBI single in the second inning that brought in Swanson and Michael Busch. Rays responded with 3 runs in their half of that same inning. Then the Rays got another run off a Jaime Caminero home run in the third. While the Rays were capitalizing and extending their lead, the Cubs had 3 straight 1-2-3 innings after the second, before they had back-to-back doubles to start the sixth inning. Only got 1 run off of that, though. Michael Busch had a sac fly to make the game 3-4. Then 2 more 1-2-3 innings before Shaw hit a solo home run in the ninth. Defense was sloppy. Dansby Swanson had an error that I don't think he should have had. Phil Maton, he gave up a brutal 2-run home run in the seventh. That really won the game for him. Giving up 6 runs in a loss with quiet bats off the news of Cade, Cubs Nation was in a bad mental space after Monday. But then Tuesday night happened. Cubs offense exploded for a 9-2 victory. They banged out 16 hits with 7 different starters. Get that, 7 different starters having multi-hit games. Pete Crow Armstrong, let's start with him. He hit his first home run of the season. I think the exit velo was about 109 miles per hour. It was a laser. And then he was a menace on the base paths too. He stole a base, bunted for a hit. He was the PCA that we expect to see on a consistent basis. Moises Ballesteros, he had a breakout game. He had a home run and a sac fly. Star of this game was Javier Assad. After that news with Cade and Matt Boyd and going to the IL, you needed a hero, and he was just that. 5 2/3 innings of 1-hit shutout baseball. I don't say this lightly. He saved the season. Okay, maybe I am saying that lightly, but he at least put the team on his back for one day. The pitching staff is severely depleted, and it was a jolt of energy to have that type of outing from a guy who really didn't even make the squad coming out of Mesa. He had all his pitches working for him too. The sinker, the four-seamer, the cutter, the sweeping slider, the curveball, the changeup, all of it was money out there on Tuesday. It was a big start for him. Big start. And again, I'm going to say this again. He didn't make the team coming out of Mesa. He did his big one because the team definitely needed that energy. Wednesday, series finale. Tied 1-1. The Cubs clinched it with a 6-2 win. Nico Hoerner. I can't say enough about this guy. He set the tone immediately with the leadoff home run. Finished the day, 3 hits, 2 RBIs. Alan Ray, not to be outdone, he was solid too. 5 innings and allowed just 1 run on 2 hits. Again, 2 out of 3 on the road brought the Cubs back to 500, like I said earlier. Record 6-6. It's back to Wrigley to see the Pirates, your first division series of the season, with a 6-6 record after all the I guess bad play and bad mojo surrounding the squad, it was as big. That was a big win on Wednesday night. It's as big as anything could be in the first month of the season. That funk really could have stuck with the team all season. And you don't want that because that's how you ruin seasons. And with a team with the expectations that like this one, ooh, that'd have been disastrous. Could have cost some people their job. But let's talk more about the offense in the last two games. The Cubs got out of that slump through a combination of resurgent power, aggressive base running, and I'm being opportunistic with their hitting and capitalizing off of the Rays' defensive. And they had a lot of mistakes in the walks they took out there. The Cubs walked 11 times in this series, but Nico set the tone from a leadoff spot. I think I like him being at the top of the lineup. He probably should have more opportunities in traditional RBI spots as well, because who else can you count on to get a hit at any point in the game from this squad other than him? But I think I like him at the leadoff spot because he sets tones. He sets tones. He like I said, he had multiple 3-hit games this series and got the team rolling with that home run, which is his first home run of the season. He is an elite situational hitter, which is, speaks to that. I would like to see him in some traditional RBI spots. He can spray the ball all over the field, and he helps keep the pressure on pitchers and helps ignite big innings for the Cubs. During that 9-2 victory where the Cubs had 16 hits, there was a lot of key players in that. But not to be outdone, Nico did have a big showing this series, and especially in game two. But in game two specifically, there were a lot of key players that showed up for that game. I'm gonna start off with PCA. PCA broke out with a 3-hit performance, and it showed how deep his bag is. He's got a skill set like I don't think anybody else has in the majors. He hit that line drive laser for his first home run. It was the hardest hit home run for the Cubs this season. He also showed off his speed. He legged out a bunt single. He stole a base, and he was aggressive. He was able to score from third on a shallow fly ball. Moises, after a slow start to the season, he hit a line drive home run down the right field line. He also had an opposite field single, and he had a sac fly. We need him to break out because him and this next guy, they break out, this team is back rolling. Alex Bregman, the offensive leader of this team, the big free agent signing, he snapped out of his slump also. He had a 3-hit game, and he showed improved timing by pulling his hands inside a couple of times, hustling out that double. Michael Conforto as well. Not gotta give shout out to him. Him being available is huge because the last two games Ian had them play. Heel injury. The Cubs are saying it's not gonna be significant time loss, but you never know with the Cubs. They say anything. But Michael Conforto, this is why he made the squad. His ability to be versatile, and you will want him to be able to come up with some big hits while getting these spot starts, and he did just that this series. He provided some clutch hitting from the bottom half of this lineup. He got on base 4 times in one of those games, and he capitalized on back-to-back walks by jumping on a first pitch for a bases loaded double that ended up driving in 4 runs that game. He broke the game wide open. Overall, the Cubs offense is looking like it's finally clicking while getting high quality contributions from the bottom of the order and consistently executing when runners are scoring position, which is something that the Cubs struggled with for a long time.
Need a Garrett's popcorn break.
Now there's some news that we desperately need. Seiya Suzuki. He is scheduled to return to the lineup Friday when we open the series against the Pittsburgh Pirates at Wrigley Field. He has been out the entire season so far, dealing with an injury that he got in the World Baseball Classic. He has looked fantastic in Double-A Knoxville. He hit a big double off the left field wall. He followed that up with a single. He showed no signs of a limp or hesitation when he's running the bases. His return is going to be huge. Huge. The shot of adrenaline that he will bring this team when he gets back this weekend would probably be considered an illegal upper. That's how big it's going to be. Big question, though. What will Craig Counsell do to manage the DH spot in right field? Whether Matt Shaw or Moises will lose at bats to make room for Suzuki, who's to say? But I think that's one of those good good problems that that you can ever deal with, especially with where the team is right now. Let's talk who's hot and who's not. Let's start with the good. Nico Hoerner, obviously, he's playing out of his mind right now. He's hitting about 340 with an on base percentage of over 460, and he just had back to back monster games against the Rays. He is leading the National League in second baseman in OPS and WAR. I'm also going to give some credit to Edward Cabrera and Javier Assad and Colin Ray. With Cade Horton out for the season and Matthew Boyd down for who knows how long he'll be down. Those guys stepped up big time. Cabrera hasn't given up an earned run yet, and Hassad and Ray just delivered 10 plus innings of combined 1-run baseball down there in Tampa. Now we need that to continue because with what the Cubs got coming up later, it's going to be big. The Cubs will definitely need that type of pitcher performances from everybody, not just Javier Assad, not just Colin Ray, but everybody, because the Cubs are entering a pivotal stretch of the season where their starting rotation, their depleted starting rotation, will be tested with their upcoming schedule looking brutal. I already know Cade is done for the season with some UCL damage. Matthew Boyd, 15-day injured list with bicep tendonitis. Justin Steele, our ace. I don't know if he's still our ace, but he mostly accomplished pitcher. I think the Cubs have. He definitely was the opening day starter last year, and maybe the year before that as well. He's still on a 60-day IL, and he's not expected to be back until late May at the earliest. Jordan Wicks, another crucial depth piece. He's currently dealing with forearm and elbow issues as well in the minor leagues. These are significant bodies that the Cubs are missing. And with the current starting rotation of Cabrera, Shota, Eminaga, Taillon, Assad, Colin Ray, it is imperative that everybody has their best going forward right now because the margin for error is very thin. Beyond this group, though, their options are thin. You got Ben Brown, who's up and down. I'm gonna just say that he's up and down. He's not somebody you can really just even fantasize about being a significant piece that you need in a situation like this. Because as we know, when the lights are bright, Ben Brown will show up. You got minor leaguers like Jackson Wiggins, Vince Velasquez. They're down there in AAA. Maybe they can help out a little bit. But because of this lack of immediate depth, maybe Jed and Carter got to start working those phones a lot earlier. Maybe we go back to Miami and get Sandy. Sandy's going to cost a lot. Edward Cabrera cost our number one prospect. Sandy's going to cost at least 2 prospects and 2 ready-made guys, ready-made for the majors guys. So if you think this is the year, you push the chips in, you make that moves. If you believe this is the year, I think it's a little earlier to make those type of generalizations, especially with the Miami. They got off to a good start this year. So any price tag on Sandy is going to be a lot higher now than it would be, let's say, mid-June. So I don't know. There's also some free agents out there, Lucas Giolito, Tyler Anderson, maybe explore some of that just for some more depth. And like I said, this part of the season where we had an easy path to build up some cushion. Cubs wasted that. We can put that in the past now. We only got 6-6. The first 12 games of the season are supposed to be cake. Cubs only won 6 of them. But the upcoming schedule is going to put that patchwork rotation to the test. After the Cubs host Pittsburgh on Friday this weekend, they got 16 games against National League powerhouses like the Philadelphia Phillies. I don't even know why we still call them a powerhouse, but until otherwise proven, they get to be labeled as that. You got the New York Mets again. I don't know why we got them a powerhouse, but whatever. You got the Phillies one more time for 4 games. Then you got 3 games on the road with the Dodgers, 3 games on the road with the Padres. If the Cubs can go 500, 8-8 out of that stretch, you might want to call that a win. I would prefer they go 10-6, but because I don't think the Phillies are all that hot this year. You got 7 games to prove me. You got 7 games to prove me wrong, Philadelphia. But we shall see. It'll be difficult though with the Cubs not having Horton, Boyd, or Steele for any of that time. Now, let's talk about who isn't playing well. It's easily this question is really easy. Michael Busch. I don't even think he started the season yet. 0 for 12 in Tampa. 0 for 12 in Tampa after being 0 for 11 against Cleveland. He looks out of rhythm right now. If it wasn't for a walk where he was eventually scored on the Nico, I think, single in the first game, and it wasn't for that sack fly he also had in that first game, he'd have just been out there getting cardio, just stretching. We really need. I said earlier that Alex Bregman and Moises, they turn it up, this whole offense turns around, but that's the guy. That's where we need. That's the guy who's going to deliver the power. Michael Busch has league leading. Let me not say league leading. That's too far. Michael Busch has top of the league power in his bat. We got to start getting him to get some contact. Also, who's struggling? Filmmaking. I don't know. He was the top reliever that the Cubs signed this all season, but he's been awful. He gave up more home runs, more command issues. Still early. Relievers usually don't find their niche until later on in the season, about midway. Dansby Swanson, and Alex Bregman, they had slow starts to the season, both hitting in the 125 and 188 range early on, though I did say Bregman, he's starting to look like he's coming out of it. He's an accomplished hitter. He's a professional hitter. So I expect that from him. But Dansby Swanson, I don't expect much out of him offensively. So what we get is always a plus. The Cubs are off on Thursday. They play the first game Friday against the Pirates at Wrigley. Opening pitches at 1:20. It'll be Shota Igmanaga against Mozinski for the Pittsburgh Pirates. That's all for today's episode of Holy Cow. Let's hope the boys can keep the momentum rolling against those Bucks this season. Fly to W. Appreciate you tapping into this latest episode from the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan channel. Don't matter if you was watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify or Apple. Make sure you like, subscribe, share with everybody on the block, and hit the notification bell so you never miss none of our daily drops. And to all the guys from the Shy, we say 3 things. Bear down, fly to W, and sell the team, Jerry.